friends in YouTube. Today we have a Traxxion Dynamics Axxion camera mount, and it's spelled a little different spelling Axxion. Max McAllister, Traxxion Dynamics, loves X's, but nonetheless we are going to install, I ordered the left and right, so we are going to install these mounts so that for those that you motovlog or those that just like to document their rides and record their rides, you'll be able to put your cameras on a fixed position instead of on the handlebar mounts, which move with the bike. These will stay fixed. So let's go to the unboxing. All right, as you can see here, I have the left and the right Axxion camera mounts laying here. And see, if you order them both at the same time, then you got to have a way of identifying which is which. And right now, nothing on the packaging says left or right. So I don't know which is which, but I'm sure it has something. You know, basically when you look at them side by side, they look almost the same, but there is something that you do notice that is a little different, and that's right here, this indentation. So this indentation will have something to do with which side of the bike they go to. I'm assuming that the indentation will be pointing towards the mirror, simply because my understanding is the indentation is designed to stop the mirror from hitting this rod. So let's take it apart and see what we have here and see if there might be an L or an R stamped on here. All right. Here's the ram ball mount. You have 2 screws. So, all right, people. As you can see right now, there is an R. So that stands for the right. So that helped out right there. That just told me that there is a marking on here. Thank you, Max McAllister, for helping us slow people, because I would have had a hard time trying to figure out the two and probably would have put them on wrong. So we also have, I'm assuming this is the GoPro. Yeah, this is the GoPro mount. Allen wrench, a little bitty Allen wrench. So anyway, oh, this is a dial tighten. So that's nifty. That's a dial tighten GoPro mount that allows you to tighten it up this way, so you can position your camera however you want, then tighten it down so that it will stay in a fixed position. Okay, that's good. This little disc here is based on the square. This would actually sit on top, so that when you put your ram ball mount in place, it gives it a more sturdy surface. There you go, folks. That quick. I just set up everything for the right side. And of course, if we cut open the left side, now I'm happy, because you can see there's an L right here for left. So Max did it. And then of course all the parts and everything are duplicated, so it's the same thing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to simply move on from here. We know what we're doing, we know what we're dealing with. Let me just take this back apart. So let's move on to the install. So as you can see here, unlike the traditional setup, I have an upper air deflector from Pinnacle. So I have to undo the screw back behind here in order to get to this assembly. So if you don't have air deflectors here, then this wouldn't apply to you. So I will show you here in a moment what it would look like without the air deflector in place. All right, as you can see here with the traditional setup, you would have, I believe, a 5mm head right underneath here, a screw. You would take that screw out, which will allow you to remove this plastic piece. And we can do that simply by pulling the mirror back out of the way and then pulling these pieces right here. It's got a tab here for upper in that upper slit, and then it has a tab down here for the bottom. And then you will expose, by pulling the mirror out, you will expose the two screws or bolt heads right there for the mirror. Okay, now we're going to remove the two 8mm screws or bolt heads here. And what I like to do is I like to use a long extension to stay clear of the motorcycle paint so that I don't scratch the bike. So you can break them loose, but after you break them loose, here's what I would advise. I would advise you taking a rag of some sort, doesn't matter what kind, shop towel, whatever, and sticking it in this crack. Simply because you don't want the screws to fall down while you're taking them out. Have to get that bottom one out first. And then they're little, but then I'll take the top one out. And as I take the top one out, I'm going to have to hold the mirror so once you get it loose, you can just use the extension to the socket extension as like a screwdriver and just unscrew it. But again, that rag will help prevent you from dropping the screw down into the well. All right, now we have both screws out. You'll see the wires and everything now. You can let it hang, just be careful not to scratch your paint. Now I will remove that for right now so that you can see what we have done here before we reapply everything back. But now we're going to go get the mount. All right, we're going to stick the screws, the rag back into the spot just enough so I won't drop a screw. But there's something you need to see on the mirror. If you look at the mirror, it's beveled. The bracket of the mirror is beveled. So when we attach this part, which is also beveled, notice that there's an indentation here and this part protrudes further out. So when you put the bracket in place, you will see that they line up. Now I say that just to simply let you know why there's a hump on the bracket, so that when it goes together like that. So we're going to now reattach, and at the same time we are going to attempt to keep everything in place. So let's start with the top. Can't tell you if this is the right way to do it or not, but this is the way I'm doing it. I'm going to start with the top, line up the holes. All right, give it a little bit of a turn. And we will have one part lined up. And then down below here, we will go ahead and put the second one in place. I know the rag looks like it's going to be in the way, and it technically is. but I got that top one holding it in place so I can find the threads. And as we have it like that, then we're going to go ahead and tighten this part down. From the looks of it, it's a 5. So let's go ahead and lightly keep them going at the same time. Now some people may find that pulling the mirror back in, because you know we have it locked in the outward position, that you pulling the mirror back in might be easier. I don't know. So far, everything is going in just fine. And again, just wrist tight and wrist tight. All right, so this will be putting the mirror back in place. But since I'm going to put that cover back on the bottom here in a minute, I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to go ahead and leave the mirror in the outward position. It's just easier to put the plastic back on. However, I believe there's some trimming that's going to be involved here with this cover. At least that's what the videos show. I'm quite confident that you're just not going to be able to place this back as it was. Yeah, so it's going to have to be likely trimmed. How much trimming is going to be involved? Well, looks like it's going to be a lot. Because based on this right here, you can see this lines up. This is in the way. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to see if I can't line this up, remove this centerpiece only, right here, remove this centerpiece only, and see if I can't trim that and only let that screw protrude. Doesn't say, there's no instructions that come with this, but I'm thinking that may work based on the lined up position. Let's find out. Okay, with some wire cutters, I simply clipped the little supporting bar here out of the way and then tried to attach it and everything, and that bar up here is still too thick for it to go back into its original slot. So more than likely the correct way would be clip the bar and then clip straight across. That way you'll have a clean cut. Just cutting it straight across like that, give you a clean cut, and we'll see how that looks, because you can't put that tab back into the top part because of the thickness of the bar right here. So let me do my clean cut straight across. All right, now having clipped it straight across, so I clipped the bar straight off, then I clipped it at its own angle like it was laid out, and you will see here that as I try to put it back in place, underneath that piece right there is where this tab goes. Have the mirror sticking out. If I put the mirror back in, you'll see right there that this does go right there. That's a finicky little piece, but there it is right there. It just snapped in place, and yes, now everything is out of the way. Okay, so you basically just cut that top part off, then reinsert your screws. Remember, I have the upper air deflectors, so I'll put that back on, and then basically we do the same thing for the other side. Before I clip it, I will show you. I'm going to clip it so it looks exactly like this side, so I'll re-show the clipping of the plastic cover. All right, when trimming the cover, we're going to start with removing that bar. Let's just focus on the bar right now, and we're going to take some regular wire clippers, get them right up close to the bar, clip that bar, and then get down here don't clip this tab right here, just clip the bar. So if you have to, just clip the bar out the way and then trim this however you need to trim it. Easier said than done. But anyway, trim that little piece off. And you can file that down, which I will here in a moment. You just use a file and file that down. But then the question is about this top piece. Well, how are you going to trim that top piece? Well, what I did to the other one was follow that angle. It goes like this, so stay true to that angle. And then to do that, just get right up here and stay true to the angle and clip the whole thing. Now, remove the burrs. And you can shave that down too. But as you can see, that is all that's involved. That gives you that fit that will go underneath the mirror. All right, as you can see the trim piece, and you see how the screw's positioned. Well, when we move over to the left side is slightly different, trimmed exactly the same way, but you'll see the screw more obvious here. But I like uniformity, so I have them both trimmed exactly the same. They are low profile. And for those of you wondering, I have the F4 Custom tall and wide windshield, the tallest one, and wide. And you can see by the winglets that the F4 Custom does not go past the winglets. And these Axxion camera mounts were designed to also not interfere with the winglets. So if your windshield does not, impede on this winglet, you're good to go if you were looking for compatibility issues. So let's put some ram balls on top. All right, there you can see with the ram balls on top. Now the ram balls are more of a plastic material of a ball, and I will likely replace them with the rubber version of a ball, 1-inch ball. I just don't like the plastic ones because they don't grip as tight with the clamps that I use. So as you can see, if you leave the balls on or take them off, it doesn't really matter. It still looks good, but you can have it low profile. You can have it set up whatever way you want. Choice is up to you, but that's the installation. Well, I hope you found this installation video helpful. Just remember that the rule that I follow is if I trim or modify any part of the OEM product, like we did these covers, I immediately order OEM covers to put in my little bin, because I keep all of the motorcycle's original OEM parts in a bin. So if I ever needed to return it back to its factory condition. It's a good rule of thumb. If you remove screws and stuff like that, it's a good rule of thumb to put those in a little envelope or something and mark what it goes to so that you know you can put everything back. So until next time, just live your life.